No, like everybody's different. You do what you think gives your team its best chance to win, and I always say you do run your own race. And so, what does your experience teach you? Like the players that you've had, the people you've been around, the coaches that you've been with, the sports science people that you've talked to, the doctors that you've talked to, right? And all that factors into it.
With Indiana, is there any similarity to Boston, the way they 5 guys who can shoot and the depth they play with? Is it similar at all to what you just faced?
It's different. Every team is a little bit different, but there are some similarities. The uniqueness of their ability to push the ball and then having multiple point guards and skilled bigs. I think it's sort of the way of the NBA today. And so I think you have to be adept at guarding offenses that are built like that.
Is their depth one of the things that it presents a challenge for you guys?
Well, I think it's more. You look at that's one of their strengths. I think their offense, their defense. You still their core players are going to play a good amount of time, and so we have to understand that. And we have to understand the guys that are coming in, what they do well. We have to know them well. I think what goes into winning is your preparation and then understanding what the strengths and weaknesses of their team is. And then you got to try to take advantage of what your strengths and weaknesses are and cover up your weaknesses.
I'm so sorry to cut you off. Is there something about them specifically that allows for them to be able to maintain their transition offense as well as they have in the playoffs? That so many people look at teams that are as fast-paced as they are and say that can't work in the postseason. Now, obviously, the second straight year may back to come.
Well, I think you look at what the strengths of the team are, and I think you build your system around that. So they've done a good. Halliburton has certain strengths. I think if you overlook the type of player that Nembhard is, you're making a big mistake. And then, so you build your system around that. I think that's what most NBA teams do is you figure out, okay, what are the strengths of the players that you have, and build your system around that. And then defensively, you do the same. Okay, maybe with this type of team we can do this. Maybe you're more aggressive. Maybe you're trapping more. You're whatever. Maybe you're switching more. So I think you take advantage of whatever the strengths are, cover up your weaknesses. Whatever you think gives the team the best chance to win. That's where your focus lies.
Tom, I don't know if you would call it fun, but when you match up with a guy like Carlisle, who like yourself has won a million games and been around for a long time and been doing this a long time, is that like an extra kind of challenge, interesting thing to people trying to play chess with him? I know, obviously, last year there was the cat and mouse thing with the refs and everything. He had the thing up in you too, and whatever. Just stuff like that. Is it a little extra something?
No, I think and I've got great respect for Rick. I've known him a long time. He's been the head of the Coaches Association forever, and he's done a wonderful job with that. But you have to respect the team. You have to understand what goes into winning. I think if you lock into individual matchups and that sort of thing, and you get lost in what is really important, and you got to prepare for their team. And I think it's important for everyone to understand that.
After game 5, Cal was asked about his performance, and he said that he was, just going through the game plan. Can you talk about the impact he had in the clincher and how you guys can utilize that going forward?
Yeah, and again, every game is different. You want him to play to his strengths. I thought he played a terrific game. I thought he was great, even in Game 5. The guy was in foul trouble. He played 10 minutes. He still scored 19 points. That's pretty good. We didn't play well as a team, and then you bounce back the next game and play aggressively and play well. So that's the most important thing: is how do you contribute to winning? Don't get wrapped up in individual stuff. Just focus on the team and winning.
Tom, how long did it take you to get over last year's series loss to the Pacers? Drops 0-2-0 and get a million injuries, and how tough of a series loss was that?
Well, I think you have to be process oriented. Sometimes you fall short of your goal, and then you prepare all summer for the next season. That's really what you have to do. You do the best that you can, given the circumstances that you have, and you go from there.
Tom, Josh and Jalen have talked about in terms of toughness. This team's not less tough or more tough than last year. It's just different. Does that include you? Have you coached this team differently than teams in the past?
No, I think you have to study your team. You have to study what the strengths and weaknesses of the team. Each team is different, and I think that's the challenge that you have every year. Whether it's draft picks, trades, free agency, whatever it might be, or maybe you're getting a player back that was injured the previous year. And then the challenge is, how do you put it together? And you have to get onto the same page as quickly as possible. And so you start in training camp with the goal in mind. Okay, we have to be playing our best at the end, and just keep focusing on daily improvement. And so sometimes you do fall short, and then the next day you have to get up and you got to make sure that you're making your corrections and moving forward. You always want to be moving forward, and you never want to be satisfied with where you are, and you always have to have the belief that you can do something better.
Back in the back in the 90s, it was probably pretty clear at some point the Knicks were going to see the Pacers at some point in the playoffs. Did you think you were going to see this team this year?
You never know how things unfold, and it's oftentimes strange things happen in the playoffs. You may get an injury, a team gets hot. It rarely is it linear where it just you think, oh, this is going to happen, this is going to happen. So it's hard to win, and all the teams that make the playoffs are talented, and you have to understand that, and then you have to earn it every night. Nothing. There's no carryover from the previous game. You get ready for the next game, and you have to earn that win, and that's where everyone has to have their focus.
Tom, obviously, it's a stars league, right? And Jalen and Tyrese meet in the second round last year. Then they have this big WWE thing, and they're in the ring, and now they're meeting again here in the conference finals with a chance to go to a championship. What do you make of that matchup of Jalen and Tyrese? And you may ask for the league to have
No, that's for you guys. We have great respect for Indiana and Tyrese, and we understand what we have to do. But I think where we are today, that's part of the league, but I try to focus on the basketball part.
We'll do Barb and then Nathan.
Thank you. Tom, can you just spell out the advantages, your philosophy of playing your core guys major minutes? Halliburton has played 34 minutes, and no one else has played that many, and all of your starters have played more than 34-minute average, more than 34 minutes. What are the obvious advantages of that? Just that they've seen every situation, conditioning, or just kind of spelled out that?
Yeah, and like I said, so I can't speak for them. They have to do what they think is best for their team. I felt that was what was best for our team, and so I'm proud of what they did. I think you condition yourself for what you want your body to do, and I think our guys have prepared themselves well.
Thomas, can you look at the playoff numbers, you guys, in terms of opponent, field goal percentage, opponent, three-point percentage, have improved from the regular season, also points per possession. So I'm just wondering, do you see the defenses having played better in the playoffs than the regular season?
No, I thought that the whole second half of the season, was a lot better, and I thought it was steady improvement. And obviously getting Mitch back was a big factor in that. But I also think that you had a lot of new guys that were learning a new system, and it takes time. And it's and whatever is going to give you the best chance. I know like the 3-point field goal percentage was high, but the three-point attempts was very low. So that told me we were covering the line pretty well. And so you try to look at all the aspects of it, what it's going to take to win. You obviously have to be strong on both sides of the ball, and that's what you're working toward.